What's up, guys? I love how on my initial launch of this stream, I was 12 seconds into it and immediately it was crashing. So hopefully this time I got it connected right. So today I returned to the channel to sort of discuss something that I have heard a lot throughout the years, and now that I think about it, given the individual that I am who lacks empathy, I guess it's something that I'm starting to get sick of hearing. And that is particularly limited to women, because honestly, I only hear the women saying this, but it's the women who, for some reason, use the little phrase, or not necessarily in this form, but they tend to use these things as factors of I have kids, a job, and school, and they use that as a mean to request praise without really directly asking for it. And I want to just ask why. Why do people do that? Why do you feel like you need to be celebrated by family, strangers, friends over how difficult your life is compared to everybody else when you're just doing what everybody else is doing, which is tackling your responsibilities and your duties? So I guess if you're looking to be admired because of all the challenges that you take on alone, sure, but you got to remember that a lot of those things are decisions that you made. So if you decided to have kids, because having kids is a decision that you make, you can choose to postpone it, or you can choose to engage in the act and run the risk that you will end up expecting, or you can just skip it altogether. You know. So if you at some point decided to engage in such a thing and you ended up with results, then that is a responsibility, and it's also a duty for you to take over those kids and take care of them. Sorry, that's what I meant. Not take over, take care of them. So, like, if you were going to school while that happened, then of course continue to get an education, because being out here is only going to get more difficult. So the more competitive that you can make yourself, the better the chances you'll have of giving yourself a better life, a higher quality life. But also, if you like to throw a job into the equation, let's say that before you had kids, you had schools and a job. You had school and a job. Guess what? A lot of people do that. And I don't see people going around just saying, I got school and a job, so therefore it's okay for me to be stressed and overwhelmed. Most people these days have to resort to that. Now, in the event that your kids arrived when you were in school and you did not have a job, and now you have to take on a job because you have this responsibility that was probably unplanned and unforeseen for you, guess what? What responsible people do is they make sure that they do everything in their power to make sure that they can juggle everything. Some people end up quitting school. If you decide to not quit school, maybe it is because you have support. And if you do quit school because you don't have support, then oh well, it is a lamentable situation, I guess. But at the same time, that's the part of me where I guess is where I get to prove once again that I just don't have empathy, because again, I just cannot see why you're more special than anybody else. Just because I have never been married and I don't have kids and I have a job and I don't go to school, it doesn't mean that my life is just flowers and dandelions, or it is incredibly easy for me. I have made some decisions precisely with extensive meditation to determine how I can avoid complicating my life. And the first thing that I decided was absolutely no children. So there's a lot of people who go about their days doing that. They think about things, they make decisions, they sacrifice some things, deprive themselves of some things, whatever it is, but those people are still getting stuff done in their lives, just like you are. Just because you think that you have more value, just because you have more stressors, I guess, in your life that you actually voluntarily asked for, then I don't see why we need to celebrate you. See what I mean? Because everybody is broken to some extent. Everybody has challenges to some extent. So I just do not get why it is that some people use that as their shield for why they cannot be criticized or why they cannot be like given feedback about that. I just don't get it. So I just wish that I could go maybe a whole year in which I don't hear someone say, "Oh, well, I have kids, school, and a job, and I'm making it." Like, you're asking to be celebrated. No. You're not better than me. You're not better than my friends. You're not better than my colleagues. You're not better than my parents. You're just not better than anybody. That's what a responsible person does. So I just really wish that people just would not say that anymore. Of course, I cannot stop them from saying that, but it's just that it's one of those things that if I could avoid it or just eliminate it from my life, I just would, because I feel like people who do that maybe don't even realize it. Maybe they just need to feel some kind of, it's a way for them to catch a break of some sort, or maybe, hey, you haven't said something nice to me in a long time. Here is a hint on something that you could say to me to uplift my spirits. But I just find that a lot of people are emotionally needy these days, and I just don't get it. Like, let me tell you, my day, especially when I have work, it's absolutely depressing. It's absolutely challenging. It's irritating. I'm like pissed off 95% of the time. I just want to go home as soon as I get there. And it's because there's some challenges in my life that I have to address in order for me to be able to have a clear mind at dealing with anything. Have I quit? No. Like, have I quit from my family's life? No. Have I quit from my goals? No. So it's weird. I don't know if you guys get the drift that I have going on right now, but I just thought I would get that out of my chest because I think it is pretty ridiculous. It's getting out of control. I'm hearing it a lot. And I just want to know why people have become so emotionally needy. I know that this is like a lonely time to be alive, I guess, but I personally do not get it. And it just concerns me that the more into the future that we like get into, the worse it seems to get. But anyways, that's just me. The experience of one little girl compared to the rest of the globe, but maybe it's not as bad as it seems. I like the Gohan poster in the back. I appreciate it. I most definitely need to get back to art or something because I just cannot deal with it. Actually, I think that's Goku. I don't think I have Gohan yet. But thanks nonetheless. And let's see. Well, in your case, not me. Hi, Robert. And greetings to you. Oh, ex-Mary. I like that. No, I really don't like that. I know you meant Zemri. I just wanted to pick on the typo. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much all the rambling that I have for now. Sorry that I have been away for so many days. It's just every time I say, okay, I'm going to have time to stream, I'm going to make it happen, no excuses, no matter what, guess what? Something just comes up, and I'm like, damn it, I cannot get a stream done. Because otherwise, I would have to sacrifice sleep. And if I do that, that means that I'll show up to work probably on 4 hours of sleep. And Zam is just no good on 4 hours of sleep. But also, I just kind of wanted to like stay away for a little bit. I've been mostly isolated from people. Like my brother, I barely talk to him. My mom, I barely talk to her. We just only talk about the necessary. It's nothing bad. It's not like I hate anybody. It's just that I need time to like process some stuff and just breathe normally. And sometimes other people's influences, it's not that I cannot handle it. It's not like you guys are something bad in my life. Not at all. I have fun. Every time I stream, I tell myself, why in the hell do I not make this a priority? I love what I'm doing. But it's just weird. Like sometimes social activity for me is exhausting. So I try to absolutely not make eye contact with anybody because for some reason I'm one of those people who I guess people just assume that I'm in the mood to talk, and I am terrible at small talk. And I think that that's one of the things that I could definitely improve in, but I don't care to improve in because I'm perfectly happy this way. Whereas when I have to like meet the expectations of people with my behavior, it's like, no, you think that because I sound, that act, express myself, and present myself in a manner that you consider positive, that I'm this like uberly social person. No, I like to be by myself. I like to not be spoken to. I like to not be bothered. If I have something to say to you, I will go up to you. And if I go a whole year without saying anything to you, I am fine. I am happy. But I think it's strange that people sometimes expect for you to make like a social move or look for people, and I'm like, no, I don't have anything to say to you, and I'm not thinking about things to say to you either. The people who are good with social interactions like that, they have my admiration. I guess I will never overcome that part of me. Maybe there's nothing to overcome. Like, I don't feel like being that type of a person is a bad thing. I know people who are similar to me, and I'm like, I'm so glad that I met you because I thought that other people's influences telling me that that's something I need to change. I was starting to believe that it was a problem, but then I realized no, the problem is them. And I was telling myself, why did I allow myself to be manipulated in that manner? Like to be told that my behavior that makes me perfectly comfortable and happy is unacceptable. But if it's at work, then of course I do have to be social. Like that's just very basic. But outside of that, no. Just stay away from me. But anyways, you guys know me. That's what I like about being here. Hey Zam, hey Jimmy. Robert says, yeah, single dad. Morning. People will always inflict their views on you, right or wrong. It's unavoidable. What we really should do is like ourselves, uh, for who we are, like ourselves for who we are, and that is all that matters. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why when I was growing up, that was like the most difficult thing for me to do. I just thought that because I didn't have so much positive reinforcement, I guess I just grew up thinking that the world was just overly critical of me and I just could not fit in anywhere. But then I told myself, why am I focusing on trying to fit in when there's people perfectly fine with who I am? How about if I actually worry about those who are actually involved in a manner that helps me grow? Because I just feel so stupid. Like looking back, not even that long ago, 3 years ago and beyond, it's like I see myself and I'm like, great, I have become exactly who I wanted to be. But anything prior to 3 years ago, I am just so embarrassed. I just want to be like, why did I have so many problems? Why did I have so many insecurities? What experiences exactly turned me into the person who I have become now? I just wish I knew the time, the date, the place, the moment when I just woke up one morning and I said, you know what, forget this. I am never going to feel anything less than amazing. And it sounds very like, I guess, corny or something right now that I'm saying it, but if I were to watch some of my playbacks from when I first started off in here, I would be like so embarrassed. So I used to remember how nervous and shy and insecure I was, and I used to be afraid to ask people for the most basic of things, like asking for help or, hey, where can I find this? Where do you go to buy this and that? And why was I so afraid of people? Why are we sometimes afraid of people? Because I know that I'm not the only person who feels that way. But most definitely, uh, the most influential people in my life tend to be at work. And it's really not while we are at work, it's what happens outside of work. And I find that particularly amazing because I just thought I would never have that type of a network. I thought that the way that I lived my life as a teen, which was incredibly isolated against my will, I thought that was going to be my life forever. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, no, all I have to do is wait for the right place and the right time, and good stuff will happen. But sometimes we get so invested in what we're doing that we forget what it is that actually makes us happy, and we end up neglecting that. And that's exactly where I was at. I no longer wanted to draw. I haven't drawn in about a year and a half now. I used to not practice music anymore. Basically, everything that I liked, I was just isolating myself from it. And it was just making me miserable. It was making me worse than I already felt. And the way I live my life now is I refuse to let anything get in my way. And as soon as the symptoms show up, I become very aggressive about it. Especially when it started affecting me at work, as in, it's not that I was a bad worker, it's more of my attention span was limited, and sometimes I would just forget to get things done in my day despite the routine. That's when I knew I had issues, because I've never been someone with attention problems. I've never been someone who cannot follow, uh, like, I don't want to say a schedule because you can never time something perfectly, but basically the order of a sequence of events that need to take place. I'm like, why is it that a second ago my supervisor told me something and now I remember what they said, but I'm like, how do I execute it again? So my retention, if my retention is suffering, that's how I know I'm stressed out. And other times it was I would completely drop the ball on some things, like completely forget about minimal things. And that upset me because I'm one of those people who is an overachiever. I pay attention to detail. And, for all those years that I've been there, that's never happened to me before, but everyone is overwhelmed in the same manner I am. So, as opposed to beating myself over it, I just get together with someone who recently dropped the ball on something too, and I'm like, hey man, you know what? I totally fucked something up, and you gotta hear the story. So, what we do is we end up tearing each other apart and have fun with it. So, I wish that at some point, anybody who struggles does that. Just grab someone who you know messes up often and just turn it into a game. Just be like, wow, you remember that time when you completely dropped a whole bag with glass in it? That sucked. Well, guess what? I completely knocked over a whole floral arrangement that had water in it. So we had like a whole lake on the floor to wipe up. Just basically turn it into a competition. Whose disaster was worse? To me, those are the best conversations. It's just amazing how much can happen in a little store. But yeah, I learned to turn tragedies and mistakes into, like, the bloopers that movies have. That just look at it and tell the story and just laugh about it, because I used to get so upset and take it so seriously, and I would take that home with me and have anxiety for like weeks after the thing happened. So now it's like something happens and I let go of that shit immediately. But anyways, I'm still going to be that person who's kind of fierce when it comes to certain things, like especially someone who is particularly nosy and they like to be all up in my business. It's like, just because we are cool doesn't mean that you can be all up in my business. Don't ask personal questions. If I have some personal information to share with you, I will volunteer it before you even ask me. But yeah, so stupid things like that. I cannot tell you if I will grow out of that or if I'll be like that forever. But there's some things that I'm just still not cool with. Sometimes I think my entire life is a blooper reel. You know what? Those are the best lives to live. You know that? And that's why I have decided that I am going to try to film my personal experiences as much as possible, and maybe eventually I'll be able to like do real vlogs like I used to, if I can call those real vlogs. But it's difficult sometimes. But don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Do you think your rather non-mainstream view on some things prevents you from being more social? Honestly, I have been like this since I was a kid. I'm telling you, kindergarten, first grade, elementary school, middle school, all that time. So I just think it's how I am. It's how I'm wired. It's my composition, I guess. It's not like I don't feel like my unconventional opinions sometimes is what makes it difficult for me to be in social situations. I just would rather avoid certain discussions because it's like what who said it? Like what Philip was saying. Other people's views will being inflicted on me, especially when I don't request it. It kind of upsets me. I don't mind you sharing an opinion, but when you try to inculcate your values into me, that's when I tend to have problems with that. Because I'm not looking to change. If I have a problem on my hands and I want you to help me resolve it, that's when I'll reach out. And if it's something that I have to change personally, like my attitude, my schedule, the way I go about things, you're welcome to contribute in any way, shape, or form. Because at that point, I'm pretty much humiliating myself and looking for the help. But I'm not afraid of expressing myself how I express myself here, because that's ultimately who I am. The experiences that I have gathered have turned me into this person. And let me tell you, the most important people in my life love me for that. And that handful of people who matter to me the most, those are the ones I answer to, and those are the ones that I'm concerned with. As long as those are taken care of, I know that the people who I have high regards for and they reciprocate it for me would never put me in harm's way. So if they think that I'm doing something inappropriate or have a terrible idea for a plan, I know they will warn me. I know they will tell me. They would never let a loved one get hurt or lost or confused or just derailed in any way. So I think it's just me being in social settings stresses me out. Put it that way. And it's always happened. It's happened forever. So I think it's just the way I was brought up as well. I was very sheltered. So I guess now that I'm discovering that I can handle people and people are not as intimidating as they used to be, I feel more comfortable in settings like that. But being in social situations is not an important part of my day. That's the best summed up answer I can give you. I can go an entire week without speaking to a living, breathing human, and I'm fine. I've done it before. But now that my life has changed a little bit and I have met people who are imperative to my life, I do have the need to reach out to those folks and not let an entire week go by without communicating with them. But outside of that, it's just not an essential part of my day. I guess it's a mutation in my genes because humans are supposed to be uber social and whatnot. I am fine avoiding social situations, and there have been times in which I have skipped out from certain activities and events just to avoid the peoples. Even if the people who are going are people I'm cool with and shoot, I know I'll have a good time with, even when I show up and I end up having a good time, in the future, when the opportunity for such a gathering presents itself again, I'm still thinking about skipping on it. I'm still thinking about avoiding it. More than, hey, I had a good ass time with these people. Let me go back with them. No, just can't do it. Can't do it. Um let's see. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of the opinions that I have, the views that I have, and if you like them, you like them, and if you don't, fine, you know? In fact, challenge me. I like to be proven wrong, sometimes on some things. No, it's nothing Groundhog's Day again, is it, Hyzam? Are you telling me I missed your call? Maybe. Alright, guys, well, I hate to do this to everybody, but I have to bail because I have to be on my way to the gym today abnormally early for later tonight. I have to go back to work actually, but it's brief. It's just some information we have to absorb. So I will do my best again, which I keep saying this, but I will do my best to not disappear for prolonged periods of time. It's just unlike me. But just trust me when I say that my life is sort of getting better to where this shouldn't be a thing that happens with frequency. I said that last month and last week and the week before, so I might just shut up about it. But, but yeah, I promise you that I have some stuff in mind. I just need the time to get my mind together and also just establish a better time. Sometimes I'm here at night, sometimes I'm here in the daytime. I just cannot predict my days anymore, but I am doing something about it. And doing something about it is time consuming, and that's what's keeping me away from here. But just know that I'm alive and I ain't going nowhere. Have a great afternoon. You too have a great afternoon. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in